Hello everyone, welcome to our senior action presentation. We did ours on the Stop the Bleed program, and we're going to start off with the history and why we wanted to do this. So personally, I like to be a very prepared person. This is where I like to, have things ready the night before and like to take steps to ensure that, I'm ready for life throws at me. This is why I'm CPR and AED qualified, and so when I first heard of the Stop the Bleed course 6 months ago, I was very excited to take it. I took it, I learned a lot, and I thought it was a great opportunity, something that all high school students should know, but didn't really think I could do anything with that until Grant brought up that we should do our senior action project about this. I was like, great.
For me, I wrote my research paper first semester on how terrible cars are, and a big reason for that was just how many people die in car crashes every year. And as I looked more into those statistics, I found that a lot of the people that die in car crashes could have been saved if people knew the Stop the Bleed methods. And sort of when I started looking into that, I looked more into the Stop the Bleed program, and I realized that this is just a program that everyone should know how to do in case they're in one of these situations. So, yeah, so that's what we're going to teach you guys today a little bit.
So like I said, I really enjoyed the Stop the Bleed program. These are the 5 major reasons I enjoyed it, or I liked it so much. This graphic shows you that bleeding can occur anywhere, whether it's at work, at home, or on the road, wherever you are, it can happen. So this is why it's something so pertinent for everyone to learn. Also, as you can see on the right there, the mass shootings and bombings, as we see in the media, unfortunately, so commonplace today. We live in a dangerous world and unexpected things happen, but with the skills in the Stop the Bleed program, people are able to take action to save lives. So some statistics about the Stop the Bleed program: 40% of trauma deaths are treatable and they are due to preventable bleeding. And on the right there, you see what I was telling you about. That's the mass shooting fatalities year by year. And as you can see, it's only going up. In 2017, it peaked at 729 people dead from mass shootings, which is incredible. And like what Grant said about car accidents, there were 35,000 fatal car accidents in 2018 alone. And so really, this shows you, bleeding is very dangerous, and a lot of deaths probably could be preventable without it.
And again, just if you look at that second graph, 40% of those people could have been saved if passerbys knew these Stop the Bleed methods. So we thought it was really important that people in this school knew those strategies as well.
So that was just the tip of the iceberg. What you see here is a little graphic showing you that time when an accident occurs and when a person bleeds out can take just 5 minutes. Emergency personnel don't normally arrive until 20 minutes after the emergency starts. And so this red line shows you how much time has passed when a person could be dying. And so the Stop the Bleed program really focuses on giving the individual care to save them for this 10 to 15 minute period when emergency personnel is not there. The program was originally thought about when the military began using tourniquets in combat scenarios. The Stop the Bleed initiators saw how effective it was being in combat scenarios. It was like, hey, civilians should learn this too, and that's where it's all started at.
So what we specifically did was we were in talks with Andra, who's the leader of the Stop the Bleed program here in Nebraska. She works down at Bryan, and we were corresponding with her, and she gave us all these nifty equipment to teach people the Stop the Bleed program, and just a few helpful tips for what to teach. On the second picture, you can see us going to different APs and giving this presentation. Here's some more pictures. We hit about, 10 APs, which encompassed about...
I think it was like
6 or 7 APs, which was, how many students would you say that was? 60, 70, 80?
Probably, yeah. It was the most of high school.
Yeah, so, and I feel very confident these students we taught would be very effective in a shooting or other traumatic situation, and would be able to prevent someone from bleeding out. So that's what we did. Here's just a little taste of the presentation that we gave. Here's the first slide, what everyone should know about controlling bleeding. And the thing we stressed the most in our presentation was confidence. This isn't something that's usually stressed a lot in Stop the Bleed programs. Usually it focuses more on the techniques, but we thought confidence was a really important factor because a lot of people get in these traumatic situations and they just tense up, they freeze up, they don't know what to do, and they don't think they can help. But the truth is that these are super simple methods that anybody can do to save someone's life. So what were those methods? Oh, actually, before we get into those, one last thing. If you're in a traumatic situation, we stress really importantly that your safety is their #1 priority. If you get injured, you can't help anyone else. You're just a liability to everything. So we really stress that with the students as well. This is what we taught. So obviously the ensure your own safety, and then the ABCs. You alert 911, you find the bleeding, and then you compress, which includes covering the wound with a clean cloth, and or using a tourniquet and packing the wound. So just to get into those a little bit more, show you guys what we're talking about. Direct pressure is just firm, continuous pressure on the wound. Do not release until emergency personnel relieve you, and that basically helps the blood to clot while emergency personnel is coming. And this is an example of wound packing. We told students that they can use things that you find in hemostatic dressing. That's something commonly found in first aid kits like these if they are available. It would be right here. So this is hemostatic dressing, and basically what that is has a chemical that allows blood to clot faster, but again, we told them that any clean cloth, such as a shirt or maybe even like a sock, could be used to pack a wound and save someone's life. And then we also had tourniquets, which is probably the most important method, especially if you have one of these first aid kits available and you have a wound on your arm or leg. And then, so Jacob's going to give you a taste of what that presentation looked like.
Yeah, one of the really cool things about Brian is they let us borrow some of their equipment, so they let us use these practice tourniquets. So we were able to show students how to effectively apply a tourniquet, which is you just cinch it all up, it's all Velcro, and you get it tight there. Then you take this little plastic bar and just twist it until you cannot twist it anymore. Hook in this little bar, and then write the time of when you apply the tourniquet so medical professionals know when they have to take it off by.
And a really awesome thing was that Andrea gave us about 10 practice tourniquets, so we were able to give those to the students that we were teaching, allow them to practice with those, and so they could see what they would need to do in an emergency situation firsthand. And also, we got this is a real tourniquet. These practice ones are blue. These real tourniquets are the ones you're going to see in the first aid kits and then other sort of traumatic situation response kits that you're going to want to use instead. And so again, then at the end, we just showed them all this again. We gave them a little quiz. We let them practice with the tourniquets, and I think they learned a lot from this presentation. So the successes that we had in this project was, I think we did a really good job engaging with the students, especially letting them practice with tourniquets, the quiz, just and keeping them like interested during the little technical parts. But we believe we had a wide-reaching impact. As I said, we got to most of the APs. We taught 60, 70, 80 students. Sufficient preparation. So me and Jacob, what we did to prepare for this presentation was we went to the adult course that they had down at the hospital. Those run for about an hour and a half. So I think we did a really good job of narrowing that down to a 15-minute presentation without sacrificing any of the important lessons that this presentation provides. And then the last thing is confidence. Again, not a lot of Stop the Bleed presentations focus on confidence, but we believe that was one of the most important parts of this entire presentation. So I think our students at Lincoln Lutheran are uniquely prepared to be in one of those situations and utilize these skills.
However, there is still definitely room for improvement. So the biggest thing we found was that we needed to start way earlier. So like we said, there's like 11 APs here at Lincoln Lutheran, and we were only able to reach 6 or 7 of them, mainly because of time constraints. Starting earlier, okay, back up. It was hard to do it the way we did because by starting late, it made it hard for 3 main reasons. First, it made it impossible to meet with like the tech crew AP since they were working on their tech sale, which gave us no time to work with them, unfortunately. Secondly, it made giving their presentations a little hard, and because trying to, like what Grant said, stretch a 90-minute presentation down to 15 minutes and give to 2 APs in a single day made it really hard. And on one occasion, a certain AP presentation took so long we were unable to get to the second one and unable to reschedule it. Finally, it made any tech issues kind of catastrophic. In one AP, the projector was not working, so we were unable to give the presentation and unable to reschedule it. Starting earlier would have also given us more time for each presentation, and we could have made it more in-depth and possibly with a better impact. Secondly, while we did bring tourniquets that the students loved, we were unable to let them keep anything that we had given them. There were some handouts, but admittedly they were very boring handouts. And so if we were able to do this again, I'd like to make more aesthetically pleasing turnout handouts, or maybe even send them an email or something, so at least they could take something home with them, showing them like how they could get more information on it or whatever. Third, like I said, they couldn't take tourniquets with them, but they're very important nonetheless. Like I said earlier, I have a tourniquet in my truck with me that I think is very important, and if we had more time, I could have showed them where they can get a tourniquet and how much they are and why they're so important. But really, I think we had a very great presentation overall, and these are some minor things that would have made it even better. Thank you all so much for listening. You guys were a great audience. We really enjoyed it. Thank you.